Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my channel. My name is George Kingori. I'm your online finance guy who speaks about all things finance. How you can be able to save, how you can be able to invest, and how you can be able to grow your finances. And today I'm going to speak about an investment opportunity that you could be able to explore in your local region. Whether you are abroad or you are locally in your region, whether you are available to be able to offer support in that project or you are leaving it to a third party, it is one project that you can be able to do with minimal management skill and with a lot of net return at the end of the period. So what is this investment that I'm talking about? This investment is forestry. Ladies and gentlemen, we will always require timber. We will always require wood, and we can never actually replace it completely from our use, no matter how many efforts to be able to reduce our dependence on wood is done. And actually, the forested land is growing smaller and smaller, and the value of timber is growing bigger and bigger. So how can you be able to invest in these properties? The first thing that you need to have is land. The unfortunate thing is that you do not do forests on leased land, so you need to purchase land. But the beauty is you do not need to buy expensive land. You just need land that is virgin, that you need land that can be able to produce food, and you need land that requires minimal effort and management. So any land that you buy that is already having a bush is a sign it is land that can be able to sustain a forest. So buy land. Identify cheap pieces of land. They don't have to be close to the road because it is not where you are living. They don't have to be close to a major place of interest. They just need to be somewhere that the soil is good, and you can be able to either drill a well and get some water for the preliminary stages as you support the plants or the trees as they grow. So maybe a hydrological report could help. However, there are so many places that you could be able to dig a well without spending millions, and you could be able to enjoy it. And again, remember, this is a tip for forest. If you are living in the tropics, you should be doing this like yesterday. Why the tropics? Because of the completely many days of sun, trees grow much faster, and you have a big variety of trees that you can be able to explore for this particular opportunity. So you have bought land and you have bought it cheap. The other thing, you need to identify the trees that are commercially good in your region, and you need to identify trees that can be able to grow with minimal input from you in that land that you have bought. So there are a lot of information from the forestry departments which you could be able to explore. From my own research, I have identified that in Kenya there are several trees that are usually pushed for people to invest in. If you want to go the local trees, there are several species, up to 27 of them, that you could be able to explore, not just for timber, but for medical purposes, for fruit, and for other great uses, for resin, and all those other things. So forestry has a lot of other components that you could be able to explore and make some money. There are also some trees that you could be able to explore and be able to harvest for a systematic period of time without waiting for, say, 10 years or 15 years, but you could be able to harvest them, say, in 2 years, in 5 years, because the tree as it is in various stages can still be used as it is. So there are several trees for several occasions, for several places, but identify the tree that you want to do. If you are unavailable, maybe you are working abroad and you're not able to be able to check your forest and verify things, buy a tree that is going to grow and be able to mature by the time you are moving back, if your intention is to move back, or when you are having a holiday and can be able to come harvest, sell your trees. So time them to be able to take longer. If your desire is to be able to get residual income over a period of time, but still have that big chunk of money at a certain period of time, then be able to mix trees that are going to give timber at sale after 10 years and still give fruit like mangoes and apples that you can be able to sell over a period of time. Do your research. because I can of the various places that we are talking about, I cannot tell you use this tree, but look for the tree that is most commercially viable in your area and can be able to do well in your area without a lot of effort. Then the other thing you need to identify, how many trees do you need to plant per acre of land? Then do the right quantities. Don't be too greedy and plant a lot of trees together, because they will not grow thick. And remember, if your desire is to be able to sell big chunks of lumber or timber, then when they are planted too close together, they will not thrive. So get the right mix. It could be as high as 1,000 trees per acre. You could be able to do as high as 2,000 trees per acre, but for the trees that you usually thin out over time and use this timber for sale over a period of time before the 10 years or 15 years when the tree matures or gets to a harvestable size. So ensure that you can be able to plant in such a way that it meets your needs. If you plant too thin, too close, they become too thin and too tall. If you give a lot of space, you might end up wasting space and have thick trees, some which might not grow efficiently. Then you also need to time how you are able to prune. So because you need to control how your tree grows, because remember, trees that grow like this do and have less commercial value than trees that grow straight up for a big period of time, which length is consistent with size, and you can be able to get much more better quality of timber. So all these things are things that you can be able to research, but I am here to talk about the financial side. You can be able to get reasonably for, let us talk for normal trees for lumber after 10 years or 15 years. You could be able to sneak in 1,000 trees that you could plant there. Let us just, for this example, say that 500 trees will actually survive. Some you will prune off and some will die in the process, but only 500 in the acre are going to survive. So you have, say, 10 acres. My desire is that you get at least 10 acres for commercial sense, so that when you are traveling and doing these things and getting someone to be able to do the management, especially in the beginning of the period, it does not make sense to do 1 acre, 2 acres. Do 10, 20 going up, because then you'll be able to get the economics of scale going, because the costs that you incur in the initial will be able to be leveled out quickly when you have much more trees. So economies of scale. So 10 acres, for example, minimum 10 acres. So you have 500 trees that have survived to maturity after 10 years. So 500, then you have 10 acres. So 500 times 10, you have 5,000 trees. So these 5,000 trees, if one tree gives you $50 or 5,000 Kenyan shillings, then you would be able to make 25 million shillings without actively being there. So assume that you bought the land in a far off place at, say, 200,000 or $2,000 per acre. Then you effectively would be, and if your costs, for example, are maximum, together with the labor and the trees, seedlings, and fencing and all these things, come to 5 million, then you effectively have made more than 400% profit in 10 years. If you bring it forward, then it would mean around 40% per annum when you do it on an annual basis, to give you 400% in 10 years. That is magic. As the problem with this project is you might not be able to get your money instantly, and it might take 10 years, and you might spend a lot of money in the initial stage before you actually see realizable benefits. But once you do it, you could be able to make your money. If you are in your 30s and in your 40s, you are in a better position, because by the time your children are getting into university, when the costs to pay education are much higher, you could sell your trees at that point. Or when you're in your 50s and your children are getting into when they are getting married and staying, you could be able to give them a jump start by selling your trees and helping them to make deposits on their houses and initial investment. You could kick off your children with this investment. I hope that you are learning, you are growing. If you have any more questions, please leave them down below. I will leave a link from the Kenya Forestry, KFS, Kenya Forestry Services, about the several trees that you'll be able to explore if your local region is Kenya, East Africa, and the various soils and all this. A lot of information that is out there. I will leave some links below because it could help you as you grow in your financial journey. So that is again, before I leave, if the investors for the big families, the people who have a lot of money in families for over a long period of time, in Europe, in the UK, in the US, have at least 20% of your investments in forestry, giving them at least 15% return, according to some statistics I gathered on family business and their investments portfolio. Who are you not to invest in these things? Make money, think, and thank me later. Remember to leave a comment, to subscribe to the channel, and to tell me that you are learning, you are growing, and you're becoming better, because that is my mission for this channel. Thank you and enjoy your day.